I told my husband I was pregnant. He said I ruined his life and left that night for his younger coworker. His parents took his side, said he was too young to be a dad. I raised the baby alone. Years later, he came crawling back. I told him I was pregnant 3 hours before his cousin's wedding. He sat down, didn't blink, didn't speak, just stared at me like I had announced a terminal illness. He kept checking his phone. He didn't touch his plate. We were supposed to leave for the venue in 15 minutes. I thought maybe he needed time. I thought maybe I should have waited until after. I thought a lot of things until he finally said I ruined everything. He didn't whisper it. He didn't try to soften it. Just said it like he meant it. Then he stood up, told me he didn't want the child, didn't want this life, didn't want me, and left. He went to the wedding without me. I got a call from his mother an hour later, saying I was causing problems on purpose, that he was too young to be trapped, and if I cared about him at all, I wouldn't have brought this up on a family day. I hung up. He didn't come home that night. He didn't come home the next night either. By the third night, I saw his toothbrush was gone. Half his closet was empty. He left a note on the coffee table that said nothing useful, just a sentence that could have been copied from a therapy meme. I didn't cry. I didn't call him. I didn't tell anyone else. His cousin texted me the next day saying she was sorry I missed the wedding and hoped I was feeling better. I told her I was fine. She didn't respond after that. Word spread quickly through his side of the family that I was unstable, dramatic, emotional. His mother posted a photo with him and a girl I'd never seen before. A girl with long, straight hair and sharp eyebrows and a wine glass in every other picture. She tagged it, "My future daughter-in-law, maybe." That week, I had my first appointment. I went alone. I sat in the waiting room thinking about how stupid I was for not seeing it earlier. All the times he stayed late at work, all the times he said we should wait a few years, all the times he made comments about parents looking exhausted and miserable. He'd smile when babies cried in restaurants, not in a warm way, in a smug way. I just brushed it off because I thought he'd change. I thought I could steer us into the life we talked about before the wedding. I thought he loved me enough to grow into it. I deleted all our old texts that night. Not out of rage, just practicality. It was too much to scroll past old plans when I was trying to remember how to eat without throwing up. His mother called again 2 weeks later. Left a voicemail. Said I should let him go and focus on myself. Said she'd been in my position once and I needed to be strong, not selfish. I saved the voicemail, but I never responded. He moved in with the girl from the photo. I found out through Instagram. They made it official fast. Matching pajamas, couple selfies, dinner shots with his arm around her shoulder. He started looking younger in pictures. Or maybe just smug. I kept receipts, not because I planned to use them, but because I knew he'd come back eventually, and I didn't want to rely on memory. I wanted proof of how fast he replaced me, how easy it was for him to slip out of our life like it never fit. I didn't tell my parents until I was 4 months in. My mother cried for 10 minutes and then offered to fly in and help. I said no. I didn't want help. I wanted space. My father just asked if I needed money. I said no to that too. I wasn't trying to prove anything. I just didn't want pity, not from people who only ever saw the version of him I helped polish. The baby was planned on my end. We'd stopped using protection. We'd talked about it months before. I didn't spring this on him like some trap. He just decided to rewrite the story when it didn't suit his timeline. He wanted to be adored, not responsible. He wanted to be the fun guy, not the tired one who missed happy hour because his kid had a fever. I saw it too late. His sister messaged me once, said she didn't understand what happened. Said he'd been off for a while, but she never thought he'd just leave. She said the new girl was annoying, always performing, always looking for attention. I said nothing back. There was no point. I changed my last name back without telling him. I stopped wearing the ring before I hit 5 months. I didn't sell it. I just dropped it in a drawer under a stack of old receipts and forgot about it. There was nothing left to hold on to. No apology came, no explanation, just silence, then public photos, then silence again. The girl got bold. She posted a picture of them holding hands with a caption about how real love can't be faked. I screenshotted it and didn't react. I didn't post anything. I didn't reply. I just watched. He sent me one email at 6 months. It said he wanted to talk. I didn't respond. He followed up with a second message 2 days later asking about next steps. I didn't reply to that either. Then nothing for 2 months. When the baby came, I didn't tell him. I didn't put his name on the certificate. I didn't text, call, email, or post. I didn't send a photo. I didn't invite his family. I gave birth alone. I held my child alone. I went home alone. At 9 months, he emailed again, this time from a different address. He asked how I was. He said he was sorry. He said he wanted to meet the baby. He didn't say her name. He didn't ask about her, just said the baby. I didn't answer. He sent flowers to my office a week later. I gave them to the receptionist. His sister called me once. She said he'd been drinking more, said things weren't going well with the girlfriend, said he talked about the baby sometimes. I told her not to tell me anything else. If he wanted to know something, he could act like a father, not a child who missed a birthday party. I kept everything clean and quiet. No drama, no public posts, no quotes about betrayal. Just silence. I got good at keeping things moving. I hired a sitter 2 days a week so I could rest, even though I couldn't really afford it. I stopped waiting for any kind of apology that made sense. I stopped imagining what I'd say if he showed up. That part of me just dried up. Then, during her first birthday, he sent a gift. It was a box with no card. Just a stuffed bear and a tiny bracelet with her initials. I didn't open it right away. I left it in the kitchen for a full day. Then I took it outside and dropped it in the bin. Not because I was angry, because it was pointless. A child doesn't need a bracelet from a stranger. 2 weeks after that, I saw a photo of him at a wedding. His girlfriend wasn't in it. He looked thinner. Not better, just like someone who stopped caring. The caption said nothing. Just tagged people I didn't recognize. He looked out of place. I stared at that photo for a full minute before closing the app and deleting it again. That year, I filed for divorce. He never responded to the paperwork. He ignored the notifications. It took a lawyer sending a final certified letter to get any reaction. He signed and mailed it back with no note. Not a single line. Just his signature. I got the envelope and laughed. Not because it was funny, just because it was over. His mother tried to call after the divorce finalized. She said she wanted to be in the child's life. She said it wasn't fair to punish everyone for his mistakes. I told her there was nothing to punish. There was just reality. She asked for a photo. I said no. The girl he left me for deleted their pictures. Slowly at first, then all at once. Their trip posts vanished. Her captions changed. She stopped tagging him. Then she made her profile private. I didn't care. I wasn't watching anymore. That chapter was over, and I wasn't flipping back to reread it. By the time my daughter turned 2, I didn't think about him at all. Not when I made breakfast, not when I did laundry, not when I dropped her off at daycare or filed taxes or went to bed. He was gone like a stain you forget used to be there. Until one day he showed up at my door. He looked tired, hair longer, shirt wrinkled, hands shaking a little. He said he wanted to talk. I said no. He said he wanted to apologize. I didn't respond. He said he made mistakes. I stared at him and didn't move. He stood there for a long time. I waited until he stopped talking. Then I said the one thing that made him flinch. I told him he was a stranger. I told him strangers don't get access. After that day, I expected him to disappear again. I thought the door closing would be enough. I thought whatever pride he had left would kick in. But he came back a week later, this time with grocery store flowers and a handwritten letter. He left them on the porch and waited in his car across the street. I didn't touch the flowers. I took a photo of the letter and threw it away. It was 6 pages. I read none of them. He sent emails. He left voicemails. He sent another gift, this time a picture book. I gave it to a donation bin without opening it. He left a comment on one of my private social profiles, the one I hadn't used in months. Just a short sentence saying he missed us. There was no us. The next time he showed up, it was outside the daycare. He waited by the parking lot. He didn't come near the door. He just stood by his car like he had every right to be there. One of the staff members asked me if I wanted them to call someone. I said no. I walked to my car, strapped my daughter in, and drove past him without looking. That night, I messaged my lawyer. I filed a request to restrict contact. I documented everything. Screenshots, voicemails, delivery slips, the letter, the staff testimony. I didn't yell. I didn't call him. I didn't threaten him. I just followed the steps. He got the message 2 days later. He didn't come back for a while after that. 3 months passed. Then his sister called. I ignored it. She messaged. I read it. She said he'd moved out of the girlfriend's apartment, lost his job, was living in a friend's spare room. She said he wasn't well. I didn't ask for details. I told her to stop using me as a landing pad. She didn't respond again. Then it happened. I got a letter in the mail. It was from him, but official. He filed for joint custody. He hadn't seen the child, he hadn't spoken to her, he didn't know her birthday, he didn't know what she liked, what allergies she had, what nightmares she woke up from. He wanted custody because he had nothing else, not out of love, not out of guilt, because he wanted proximity to something that made him feel useful again. We went to court, he wore a suit. He looked clean-cut again, like he was auditioning. He said all the right things. He told the judge he'd made mistakes. He said he was ready. He said he was stable. My lawyer read everything back. The notes, the timeline, the silence, the exit, the email, the door. I didn't speak much. I didn't cry. I didn't explain anything. I answered what I was asked and nothing more. I didn't look at him once. The judge denied his request. Not permanently, just for now. On record, they said he could file again after completing a parenting course and showing proof of stable housing. He nodded like he understood. I knew he didn't. He still thought this was about redemption. It wasn't. It wasn't about hate either. I didn't hate him. That's the part that confused people. I wasn't bitter. I wasn't holding a grudge. I just didn't care anymore. Not enough to let him try again. Not enough to risk it. He'd used up everything. 6 months later, he filed again. This time with documents, course certificate, pay stubs, a lease, a glowing letter from a friend saying he was working on himself. I didn't panic. I gathered more records. I printed reports from the pediatrician. I made copies of the school forms. I walked into the courtroom with a binder and a quiet face. He didn't get custody. He got supervised visitation, twice a month, at a center. The first time he didn't show. The second time, he came late. The third time, he brought a stuffed animal and asked for a hug. She didn't recognize him. She clung to the staff and wouldn't let go. He stopped showing up after the 6th attempt. The center sent a notice. They closed his file after 90 days without contact. I didn't feel anything. No relief, no satisfaction, just confirmation. Last I heard, he moved to another city. I don't know where. I don't check. I don't talk about him unless I'm forced to. Sometimes people ask if her father is in the picture. I say no. They nod and move on. Nobody presses anymore. My daughter is 5 now. She asks questions sometimes. I answer what's needed and nothing more. She doesn't ask much. I don't feed her stories. I don't hand her pieces of a man she never knew. She has her own life. Last week I got a friend request from him. I deleted it. Then I changed my number.